Welcome to New Yorker's Perspective. Wait, hold on. What do I usually say? I don't even remember. Yo, it's been a long day. Welcome, welcome to the New Yorker's Perspective. It's Ron Brown, LMT, the People's Fitness Professional, alongside with my co-host. Where is he? I don't know. What's up, Mike? Come on, man. Come on in. Thank y'all for tuning in. I see a few people in the chat already. There he is. There he is. He made it in all black, like an assassin. Who you came to kill, man? What are you doing?
We came to kill the competition.
Right. I like that. We came to kill the sister today, man. I was gonna come dressed a little more professional for the sister, but no, I just kind of got home. Yo, I want to let everybody know before we get started, man. Me and Mike is doing this with full-time jobs.
That's a fact.
Families to support. Just to bring y'all, what we
Edutainment.
do. Edutainment. All from the heart. All from the heart. Mike, we made this platform from the heart, right?
Nah, yeah, of course. But you started. Let me tell you guys. Let me be honest. Ron came with this idea. We had Project Africa Restoration, PAR, nonprofit for our people. PAR, what you see here is what PAR was about, was educating, unifying people. He took me on a journey. I appreciate that. Times, I'd be like, oh, damn. He'd be like, nah, brother, yeah, I got you. We got to go all the way. So shout out to the brother.
Thanks,
you know what I'm saying? And, it's really happening. I'm like, damn, people know who NYP is. And when I say killing the competition, I'm not slaying you brothers out there that's doing your thing. Shout out to all of the other podcasters. But what I mean is that we're killing that ignorance. What the brothers are doing, we're bringing Moors out. We bring gods. We bring Hebrews.
That's right.
Yes,
everybody work together, man.
Right. Indeed.
Yeah.
So we got the sister. I like to call her K Glover Ill. But I just learned that your name is. Can I say your first name?
Yeah.
Okay. I just learned. I think a couple weeks ago that your name is Crystal.
Yes.
Okay. I just found that out. Okay. Because in the temple is like R. Brown Bay, K Glover Ill, Arnell Bay. So I'm used to the K Glover Ill. So we're gonna say Crystal. We're gonna say Crystal tonight. How you doing, Crystal?
I am well. Thank you for inviting me to the panel this evening.
Yes.
I'm ready to get it in. My husband said, teach like you got some sense. So he said, go hard. So I'm gonna go hard.
Right. And I like your headdress and everything like
Thank
that.
you.
Looking real nice, sister. Now, first off, I like to go into people's history. And if you never really watched the interviews, I'll just tell you'll notice like most of the interviews when people need introductions, if you haven't seen them on the platform like that, I take them through the person's history a little bit. So let's go into your history, a little bit of your history. Where are you from?
I'm from the Bronx, Boogie Down.
Oh, what? New York in the building.
Yes.
Now you're from the Bronx. You're from the BX. So you know a little bit about the BX, right? The BX history. You probably grew up around the time we grew up, where breakdancing was popping, and hip hop was like the thing in New York City. So you're from New York, and so like from where in New York?
So Grand Concourse. So that's where I'm from. But then it was, New York back in the 80s. The Bronx back in the 80s. It was like every 6 building, and then it's like nothing, right? So
empty lot.
empty lot, just horrible. And so my oldest brother, he and I were 12 years apart. He started getting into like gangs, and so my parents was like, no, we moving y'all to Jersey, because my mother was born in Philly, raised in Camden, New Jersey. So we moved to Jersey, and that's really where I started to get like my culture, learn about like family, learn about who we really were, just being around that atmosphere. Like New York, it was mainly, my father worked 2 jobs. He was never really home, but to eat, sleep, and get ready to go back to work. But in Jersey, it was more like a family atmosphere, because we was at my grandparents' house every day after school. We go to the Y on Saturdays, and we would have my grandparents had a Spanish tutor for us, because they were like, nah, y'all gonna learn Spanish. And so, that was the family upbringing. And the North, every summer we would go down south to visit my father's side of the family, South Carolina. Shout out to that now they call them Gullah Geechee, but that was not a word combination that we could use in our house growing up. My father was like, "There's no such thing as a Gullah Geechee." Geechee was like the the way that they would pronounce their words, and the Gullah was um, that wasn't a thing. That was TV. But shout out to them. We used to go down there every summer. It would be hot. I felt like our older cousins and stuff, they were always cool, but like my aunts and uncles, they was always hating on us, like, oh, y'all got British Nikes and LA Gears with lighting up. Y'all think y'all better than us. So it was like that type of thing down south. Like we was drilled and grilled going down south. But we learned, we learned how to live off the land down there, because down there is they still don't have cement roads. It's still dirt roads down there to get to my grandparents' house. So yeah.
Wow.
Let's
So
do-
now you went to Camden.
Mhm.
Okay, you went to Camden, and
Mhm.
then how did you come in contact with Moorish science?
I was living in Baltimore. Had moved to Baltimore. Lived in Baltimore for 8 years. So I was living there, going to school, and um, I was going to school to be an attorney, a lawyer. And Baltimore is full of Moors. If you don't know now, you know. Baltimore is full of Moors, and I had already started to, because I grew up in the Church of God in Christ. And I had already started to kind of like pull back and pull away from the church, because I felt like there was just more to know, and I wanted to learn. And like the church was going to kind of like block me from my education, just because I was getting into like conscious community and spirituality and things like that. In the church, you grow up, that's the devil. That's devil worship. Stay away from that. And so I started to like separate myself from that. And as I started to separate myself from that, um, I was going to like lectures, when they would have lectures and everything like that within like the conscious community circuit in Baltimore. And then I was watching YouTube one day, and YouTube one day I saw a video that came up on my screen that said Moors going in on a judge in court, and it was the brothers from Moor Kush, Cheyenne, and Elmer, who was on there. And I was watching. I was like, "This is crazy! I've been in mock court before. I've never seen anything or heard anything like this before." And that's when they were talking about they were in Timbuktu. They wasn't in New Jersey, and I started to study, like, and I found out, yeah, Jersey actually was Timbuktu. And I'm just learning and learning. And that's when I started my journey on learning about Moors.
Hmm. That's peace. So now you said you went to school for law.
Mm-hmm. I dropped out when I dropped out. My parents was heated. I dropped out because Moors was like, "You're not supposed to be paying for school."
Oh wow.
So I dropped out of law school, and I was like, I can't be a lawyer now, because now everybody is saying, that to be a lawyer, you're going to be helping the system and putting, brothers and sisters away. And so, I just opted in. I said, well, I'll just do paralegal, and I can still, do what I always been doing all my life, which is always wanted to save the world. That's just been my energy, to help people and save the world, and really be an advocate for people and our issues.
Right. So now, so you became a paralegal.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And how are you currently a paralegal, or did you just got?
Yeah, I'm still a paralegal.
Oh, you're still a paralegal.
Yeah, do a lot of paralegal work.
They do a lot of researching. There's a lot of research with that.
A lot of research, a lot of paralegal work. I'm look, I can't believe I still got 20/20 vision, as much as reading that I have to do. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, paralegal, that's a good field to get into. I think my cousin is a paralegal, but now I think he's like a manager or something, like at an office or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Shouts out to the my cousin Anton.
Yeah,
I'm sure you never watch my show because you're so busy. But shouts out to Antoine. So paralegal, Moorish science. Now, the lineage that you come from. Now, even though from the way that I think, the lineage doesn't matter because we're all one family. However, for the viewers' sake, I like for viewers to know as much as possible about the guest. So the lineage, is it C. Kirkman Bay? Is it Emiliel? Is it do you come from the Clock of Destiny lineage? Do you come from what's the other one? I think that's pretty much
Clock of Destiny. That's CM Bay, right?
CM Bay, yeah.
Clock of Destiny and CM Bay. I actually come from the lineage of Prophet Noble Jurali. And so
I mean, we all do, but I'm saying, like, from what tree did you learn Moorish science?
It would be Emiliel.
Yes. Okay. Makes sense. Okay, cool. I like to clarify that. Now, so Emiliel and so many things that come to mind when I think about Emiliel. Now, so Emiliel. So now that we know your history, I want to go into the questions.
Okay.
Go into the questions. So the first question I have for you is, what is the connection between Moors and America?
So Moors are Americans. Moors are Americans. A lot of times, Moors want to be, everything, right? But simply as put, Moors are Americans. So when you're talking about a Moor, you're talking about the description of the type of American or wherever else they are from. So, we look at the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, right? And it's talking about, the Asiatic family, and it's talking about the different types of Asiatics, right? It's the same thing with Moors. You got Moors that are originally from America. You got Moors that's from, Asia. You got Moors from all over the world. Moor is just telling you what type of individual that person is. Even if you look at, older texts, right? When it talks about Moors, another name for Moor was Negro. We know that was one of the badges that they put on us here in America.
Right. Yep. For sure. So now, your definition of Moorish, like, I like how the 5% Nation go, like, how they, when we talk about mathematics, they go, how you see today's mathematics. So I'm going to say, how do you see the word Moor? Now, when I say how do you see it, is your understanding is not necessarily the exact definition of what a Moor is, but how would you see the name Moor?
I'm actually using the definition of more. I can actually show you. I got proof. I got
All right,
evidence.
yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Let's
All
do
right,
it.
let
Bring
me
it out.
my screen.
All right.
Because I'm using the actual definition of more. Most people when we think about more, the first thing they think about is North Africans, right?
Mhm, mhm.
But this is the older Scottish tongue, right up to the 1700, up to 1700. So
Mm.
1701 moving forward, it started to change. The definition started to change. So here we have Moorish race, dark, swarthy, a more black, a more Negro. You know, um, as I said, I'm using the definition of more. It's not that I'm not using the definition of more. I'm definitely using the definition of more. Yeah.
Got you. So you see that right there, y'all. It's
Mhm.
right there for everybody who hates the Moors. Yo, I'll be online, right? I you know,
Let me blow it up some for y'all. Let me get it, make it
interacting with different people.
on the
And
summer jam screen.
they hate the Moors for some weird reason. It's crazy to me.
They,
But
they, they, they say the Moors assisted with the whole capture of slaves. That's why they have that.
but you know what? But that's a good point there, Mike. But like if you look at slavery, right?
Hmm.
And the different nations in Africa that were involved in slavery, there were a lot.
Exactly.
Oh,
The
come on.
Arabs were involved. Your
It's
own
like,
brothers were selling into captivity, which
right.
they forget that concept. The Europeans, Persians, whatsoever.
Everybody
Greek.
was
Everybody was
involved.
involved. It
Everybody
was
is
a free for all.
So,
slavery is still big business, still to this day.
Human trafficking, baby.
Yeah.
yeah. So then they try to put that on all the Moors,
All the
all the Moors.
all the Moors. Moors get so much hate. You gotta love us, because I don't care what topic you're talking about. I don't care what platform you on. You can be talking about, the sun is green. No, the sun is blue. And then what the Moors said, the Moors are gonna come in the conversation
Yo,
some way.
I don't know what happened with the Moors and the internet, but it's crazy. But yeah, there's the definition right there.
Yep.
There's a definition right there. So now you said what's the connection between Moors in America, and you said Moors are American.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Moors are Americans.
Okay. Can you break that down?
Yeah, definitely. So Moors are Americans. You see in the definition that one of the words that they use for Moorish was Negro. So we know that you know some of us have parents, grandparents, right? Some great grandparents with Negro on their birth certificates. So when we talking about who are Moors are Americans. We was born here. We wasn't born, well, for the majority of us, we were born here. We wasn't born anywhere else. The so-called Negro is a product of America. Not anywhere else. Now, when you start talking about other different nationalities and then they being grouped into the concept of the Negro, yeah, we know that happened. But when we talk about where did it originate, where did it start, that whole Negro badge was put on us here in America.
So, but wouldn't you say that that was also put on those who dealt with the Spaniard and Portuguese slave holders?
Well, the
And
Portuguese.
which it wasn't only America.
Well, yeah. Well, Portugal, we know Portugal is across the way, but at the same time, right? So, when we're talking about, so-called Negroes, right? We know that um, it was asked, what type of so-called Negro was here, right? And they said Negro de Terra, not Negro de Guinea, making a distinction between the different type of so-called Negro. right? And that was over here. That wasn't anywhere else. It made a distinction of, what we look like and put that designation on us over here in America. So, yeah, we know that there were others that also had that brand, but when we're talking about, when we're talking about laws that was created, we're talking about badges that was put on the people to take them from being who they truly were to a state of Negroism or a state of, a slave enslavement that was done here with the so-called Negro.
And now when you're speaking of America, I'm assuming you're talking about North, South, and North, Central, and South America.
And the adjoining islands, right?
Right. Okay. Just to clarify, because uh sometimes, so when Moors are talk, this is what I think.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the misunderstanding comes
Yep.
in. When Moors are talking to Moors
Mm-hmm.
and other people who aren't considered quote unquote like Moors who've been a part of the movement,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like ear hustling, or they're around the conversation, or they're watching the video, and you say America, they're they're not thinking about North and Central America, but we're thinking North, Central, and South
Mm-hmm.
America.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to clarify for the people that is North, Central, and South America and the adjoining islands. Now, the adjoining islands is what? What islands?
All the islands. We got the islands in the Caribbean. We got the islands in the Pacific. So we have, adjoining islands that still is a part of America still to this day. I always come from an aspect really of American history versus just, like a lot of our people is really just stuck in um, either like that 1619 project onward, or they're stuck in uh, Reconstruction era, right?
Oh, we're
Or
gonna get there.
they're stuck. We're gonna get there, or they're stuck in the civil rights movement, right? And
Woo!
That's a fact.
We should have did this interview a long time ago.
those are pivotal moments in our history, but our history is so vast; it goes beyond that. I'm talking about before 1619. I'm talking about the archaeology. I'm talking about the bones that are found here. I'm talking about the age of, the water in the forest. And, I'm talking about ancient history here where a lot of Moors are kind of like stuck. And I know what it is. It's really the education that you get within the Moorish Science Temple of America, because the education that most of us get in the Moorish Science Temple of America is really elementary. It is not.
Tell Neil Bay, be quiet, man.
Yeah, it's really elementary. It doesn't allow you to really think and grow unless you have teachers who's going to be able to teach you, that history. I'm excited because I'm always excited because I had teachers like that. I had my husband, Neil Bay. I had my one of my master teachers, Sultan Khan Bay, may Allah be pleased with him, the elder. He was like everybody's teacher's teacher in Chicago. Asir the Duke of Tears, my master teacher, So I've been blessed to be around teachers who allowed me to just learn and not be stuck, and really learn how to divide the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Like, now go and find sources that's going to back up Prophet Noble Drew Ali and what he said, because if we're saying that this is our religious text, then we should be able to find sources that's going to back it in world history. It's not a myth. It's not myth. There's real sources out here that you have that you have available to you. So it takes the myth out of the story and actually brings, okay, hold on, the pharaohs dredge, the river, and then when you begin to look at the layout of the Mississippi River, and it has the 7 sub rivers off of it, you're like, hold on.
Yo, what's his name? Pardon me. Oh my God. Grand Sheik
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Clark Ill used to always say that in the temple.
Wow.
And I used to go, all right, okay. Because there's so much information.
Yeah.
This is you're the I think no, you're the third person I heard say that.
Wow.
Clark Ill was the first. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. How long you been in the temple?
I'm gonna say about 18 years.
And I'm the third person?
Yep.
Wow.
But I'm gonna tell you, my history in the temple is a little different because I was in the temple and then I was out of the temple. I was in the temple, I was out of the temple, in the temple, out of the temple. You know what I'm saying? So because I'm always working. I've always been like this. I've always been on the move, trying to do something different, trying to do something the next, trying to do something, epic. You know what I'm saying? So that was the thing. So but if I was in the temple all the time, and that temple 54 in the Bronx, I would have heard a second person say it, a third, fifth, and so on. Yeah.
Right.
A lot of research involved in the
temple 54. Temple 54 on the C. Kirkman Bay lineage, quote unquote. Temple 54, those brothers out of that temple, Gaines Ill, Hurt Bay, and Clark Ill. Those 3 brothers, they know a lot. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So back to the Mississippi, dredge the Mississippi River. Pardon me.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you start to look at, I've actually gone, and this is my 10th year actually in the temple. This is my 10th year.
Nice.
Prior to that, I was still learning, like 3 years prior to that. But this is my official. This is 5 years prior to that. This is officially my 10th year in the temple. Nice. And I'm at the point now where all I really like to study is archaeology. I like to look at, the artifacts. I'm looking because everything else, I've done everything else, right? I've done the history. I've traced myself back. I got my genealogy. I go all the way back in my genealogy. On one side, I'm back to the 1400s, and the other side, I'm back to the 1600s. You see what I'm saying? So like once you start making those, you come to those peaks, you kind of got to go into other things, or it gets boring. So like what I'm learning right now, as far as just like archaeology and really delving into the architecture, it's boring to a lot of Moors, because like a lot of Moors, they love to get that feel good, put your hand in Allah's hand, everything will be all right. But for me, Moorish science is different. I've learned how to take Moorish science and it be my spiritual, my religious guide, for it to be, my law guide. I've learned how to utilize it, to use it as my bookkeeping and accounting. I've learned how to utilize it in all these different ways. So yeah, I'm really geeked out on the archaeology of America. It's amazing when you begin to really break down what America is.
Listen, when I learned from Clark Ill about the way Manhattan,
oh man,
is just the landscape and the way it's mapped out, and there's a lot of hidden secrets that you're just walking by, y'all don't even know.
Oh, yeah. You
You know what I'm
don't
saying?
know.
And it's the crazy thing about it is everywhere. If it's in New York, I
It's
can
every.
guarantee you it's in Jersey and
Yep.
other states.
Yep. Yep.
So like,
It is. It is. You got your ancient castles. You have all of
Mhm.
your and all of your waterways are connected because your waterways actually is the ancient interstates. That's how we travel. That's why we're Moors. We traveled on the water.
Traveling navigators.
we, we travel on the water. Our ancient ways that we travel was always on water. And so when you start looking at the water, look at go and Google Mississippi River map with the rivers. And when you look at it, you're gonna be like, this is insane. The maps, that you get to look at when you begin to look at um, when you so what another thing you do is study the maps, study the ancient maps, and compare them to today's maps, and you'll see where they begin to put the lines at to carve out what we know today as the Union States and the different counties that wasn't there before. Even when you look at the geography of the land, I always think like, what type of ancestors did we have? Because no matter what state you go to, in every state, you have a north, a central, and a south. And you can tell the difference between the central and everywhere else because the central always is hilly or is mountainous. And it's
Mhm.
like no matter what state you go into, you always find that in every state.
mhm.
So it helps with the way that the water flows. It helps the way that the plants and the trees grow to be able to have every state built out like that. And that takes a lot. I mean, it takes it's
Effort.
a lot, man. You got to. It's genius. It's genius because you got to think about it. You didn't have drones to go and look up and say, okay, now we need to carve out right here and put this right here. No, you didn't have that. So it's
Yeah.
like, what type of technology did we have to be able to do this?
A brilliant mind to know the topology, as they put it, and
Hmm.
as they say, who was it? Benjamin Banneker, who mapped out DC.
Yeah, yeah.
Just by memory, and had the Almanic.
Oh man, come on. You was going come on,
You
bro.
going into the questions?
Going
My
into
bad,
the question. You gotta slow down, brother.
my bad, sis.
We're gonna get there. Hold that thought. Hold that
I
thought.
have one question for her though.
Watch.
She
Nice watch.
she no. That's crazy. She said she did her genealogy, right? Did you use
Mhm.
DNA and archives like in the state you was born in to look back?
I did use DNA. Now let
Uh,
me tell you about DNA. Now I did take a DNA test, right? So me and my husband first got married. We did DNA test together, right? So this is 10 years ago now. We did DNA test.
Mhm.
We did DNA test. I put on a DNA test that we were from Morocco. Right. So on the DNA test, it said that our ancestors came from Northeast Africa. Right.
mm,
Last year, right before, like a couple of like probably like a month before, 23andMe had a data hack. Right. And so like a month before, I went in and I was like, because I was having an issue with one of my lines and I couldn't
oh,
break through. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go and I'm gonna look. Since I got 23andMe, I never use it, but I got 23andMe. I'm gonna see if I can find some, cousins or something like that from there. So I go on 23andMe and I said I had to change it from Morocco to really change it to New York. Then it switched. It said that my ancestors was from West Africa. I said, this is a hoax. How is it? Because I said that I was born in Morocco. I'm from Morocco. I'm from Northeast Africa. But now when I say I'm from New York, it's saying that I'm from West Africa. So no.
Pardon me. Now I don't want to now shade your experience.
Yes.
Um now this is from my experience
I
though.
know a lot of people have different experiences.
I did 23andMe and I did Ancestry.
Uh-huh.
23andMe and Ancestry were almost identical. The only difference, right? 23andMe identified exactly where my ancestors come from as far as the Caribbean, and Ancestry didn't pinpoint exactly where my ancestors came from in the Caribbean. They led me to Haiti.
Oh yeah.
They led me to Haiti.
You know why?
Shoot, Ron's a brother.
You know
But
why?
I told Mike, you knew that from like a while.
Yeah, I know. I be laughing.
So,
You know why Ancestry and 23andMe is similar?
wow.
Because 23andMe uses Ancestry white papers.
Oh.
Ancestry is the older company. 23andMe is the newer company. So all they did was just name their company 23andMe, but they're still using the same methodology that Ancestry is using, right?
I'm gonna research that and you know, and then we're gonna build on that. Now,
We could definitely build on the DNA. But real quick, with Haiti, right? I found my ancestors coming out of Haiti into Georgia, right? But I didn't find it through DNA. I found it through genealogy.
wait, that's another company.
No, that's
You
when
talking about like just tracing it back?
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Now hit that. That's the thing. 23andMe,
Mm-hmm.
according to what my ancestors told me, my you know who passed on or whatever, my grandparents and everybody. And you know what, my aunt, she's 98 today.
Happy Solar.
Yeah. So thank you. So what they all told me matched up with 23andMe. So yeah, but yeah, we'll build on that. Now we're going into question number 2. Did the Moors have anything to do with the America's foundation?
Of course. Moors are Americans. Of course, Americans had everything to do with America's foundation, right? Whether it would have been any of the agreements known as treaties that was created very early on when foreigners would come over here, whether it had to do with trade, going back and forth throughout the world, whether it had to do with the foundation, like we was talking about, just building up the infrastructure, right? Whether it had to do with even as early as, us being laying down, the fiber optics for the internet, right? Moore's always had everything to do with America's foundation, its infrastructure, its architecture, the creation of the laws, that we even follow up until this day. So yeah, definitely.
Now, do you have any references that people can go check out so they can do the knowledge for themselves to find out, what exactly did the Moors have? What influence did the Moors have on America's foundation?
Oh man, so we can go to uh, they called Montezuma's hat, right? And Montezuma's hat, they called it a Moorish headdress, right? And they said they changed the name from Moorish to Indian headdress later on, right? You also see the emerald statue of the Moor, right? With the it said the statue of the Moor with the emerald cluster, and on this statue with the emerald cluster, it talks about how the Moorish figurine of the brother, he wore a feather headdress, and it says that this feather headdress is synonymous with Montezuma's headdress. So yeah, definitely. We can always go and even into, there's a statute in Delaware that says that the Moors are ancient. They're ancient here, and that they what they call themselves the Delawares, right? But they originally, way back in the day, they called themselves Moors, right? It also talks about how these Moors In Delaware, they had their own day. They had legislation passed, back in the day where they had their own schools, right? They had their own holidays, things of that nature. So, we've always been here. We've always been American, and we always had a part and a place of helping to build up America.
Got you. All right. Now the next question.
Mm-hmm.
Benjamin Banneker.
Mm, mm,
Benjamin Banneker.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, my bad.
Who, it's all good. Who was Benjamin Banneker? Now I've heard more say Benjamin Banneker Bay, and
Mhm.
back in the days that used to trip me out, right? Because I'm like, that's not his name, and yada yada.
Mm.
But as far as like adding a bay to it, but like what I misunderstood and what other people probably misunderstand is Moors have Moors 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 have their own culture.
Yeah.
People don't really understand. This is really a culture, right?
Mhm, mhm.
And they don't see the world like everyone else sees it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So and then when Moors talk, sometimes they don't understand that they gotta also make it palatable for
Right.
the
Right.
the rest of the people.
So, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very esoteric and coded when they speak, right?
Man,
Well,
look, I tell Morris to get away from me when they talking like that. Look, I don't talk like that.
it's like Benjamin Banneker Bay. Not
No,
that his name was Bay.
right.
It was just his ways and actions, the things that he's done that he
Was like,
contribute.
yeah, like a bay, like a governor. Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it. But I call him Benjamin Banneker. And Benjamin Banneker, he was a Baltimorean at the end of the day. Born and raised in Baltimore.
Mhm.
And for him he had actually created the first it says that he created the first almanac, right? And with him being able to create the first almanac, how are you a slave if you create the first almanac, right?
Yeah.
So when those stories begin to dispel that he was a slave, then it was like, oh, he's of African descent. Okay, so you got to prove that he not from Baltimore, he's from Africa.
Mm.
You got to be able to prove, because Baltimorean, when you talk about Baltimoreans, you talking about a lot of the Lumbies, right? You're talking about the Piscataways, right?
Mm.
You're talking about a lot of different tribes. You can even go into the Powhatans, right? Some of them are even in Maryland. So when you talking about Moors and that area, definitely I still have yet to find Africans until around the time where a lot of Africans started to come to America. Previously, even if you want to talk about Africans in Africa, right? You know that Nigeria had the Republic of Maryland in it.
Never heard of that.
Never
Yeah.
knew that.
So you had the Republic of Maryland, you had Georgia, Jersey. There was a couple of republics from the states over here that went to go and create Nigeria. So yeah, even Nigeria wasn't Nigeria. We went to go create that.
Hey, more. So look, now this is the thing, right?
Hold on, my bad, Ron.
Yeah.
2 seconds. As far as Benjamin Banneker Bay, I believe they have his fez on display. Something like in his Quran they mentioned.
Well, now he does have a Quran. He does have a Quran. The Quran is in his almanac.
Okay.
If you look inside the almanac, there's a Quran in the almanac.
All right. How about the fez?
I haven't seen. No, there's no mention of the fez in the almanac, but there definitely is Quran in the almanac, and it's Quran with the K.
All right, got you. Thank you. Thank you, sis.
You're welcome.
Now, when the prophet said, "I'm gonna get you," he said, "I'm gonna get you more to think," right? Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what he said, right? Now, it's so crazy that now it's all coming together because we got to really think
Mm-hmm.
about every point in history, because every point in history changes due to wars and, uh people who have taken over that period, who were the most influential. So things start changing, names change, names of people change, and some people take things out of history and put a spin on history. So we really have to think about what we're reading, and not necessarily argue over things that happen in history that we weren't there.
Yeah.
We
No.
weren't there. We weren't there. So it's funny because you said in Nigeria they have Maryland and these different names. Now, from what I've learned over the years, these names of different states, towns, cities have indigenous names in America.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, could they be Indian or could they be Moorish? That's what's tricky about it, the language.
That's real.
Well, when you talk about Indian, right? Um, Indian is Indian at the end of the day is a status, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it dealt with the industry. So, Prophet Noble also mentioned that the wheels of industry, it's going to be back in the hands of the Moors, one day. So even when we go to Mr. Stevens, who was the representative of Georgia when he was building on the aspect of the Mexican American War, right? He talked about America belonging to the Mauritanian races and his Indian associates. Now, the Indian associates is the industry that belonged to the Moors. So even if you don't say, well, I'm a Moor, I'm an Indian, it's still synonymous. I don't get caught up in those different games. I don't get caught up in those type of titles because I know what happened, right? And I know that it is a status at the end of the day. Even if you go to CDC has a marker for more being the Indian. So it's no reason to get caught up in the type of titles in the games. Just because one person says, "Well, I want to self-identify as a Moor. I want to self-identify as an Indian. I want to self-identify as Black. I want to self-identify as African American. Or whatever else you want to self-identify as. You have that right to." Right. But when it comes to us as a people and putting on together, right, they have already called it what they're going to call it, right? So when it comes to our finances, they call it the black dollar. When it comes to our vote, they call it the black vote. When it comes to how we our family structure, they call it the black family, right? So they already put the badge on it. It's
Mm-hmm.
up to us to really come together and build off of it. So at the end of the day, you can still choose to identify how you're going to identify, but we need to come together as a collective. I was looking even at they had, I think it was Washington Post. I think Washington Post had put out a journal about Kamala Harris and how she has this secret weapon called the Divine Nine, and how the Divine Nine could possibly get her into office. And I said, that's real cute. The Divine Nine could get her into office if the Divine Nine owned the majority ownership of the Magnificent Seven, right? Google, Apple, Tesla, Amazon, right? If the Divine Nine, if we actually had the majority of the ownership in these companies, we could. If we had the majority seats with these unions, these labor unions, we could. But just the divine nine on itself is not what's going to get her in office. Sorry, but not sorry, right? Even if we did a block vote, at the end of the day, you still have to have that dollar behind you. So when you have someone like a Elon Musk behind somebody, you know, like a Trump, you already know it's a wrap. It's a wrap at the end of the day, because you know the United States money talks, everything else gotta go.
That's a fact. 45 million, what, for 6 months?
Now, what is the significance of the Reconstruction period?
The Reconstruction period is really what it's called, Reconstruction. It reconstructed our history. Also, what helped it even later on, during the end of the Reconstruction period, was the public school education that we received from Ford, Carnegie, and Peabody Institute. So that's really what the Reconstruction period it is. It reconstructed literally our history. So Carter G. Woodson can come out and tell us that majority of the slave owners was us, and the majority of the free households in the Southeast was us. That we wasn't slaves, but we were actually the slave owners, right? But your history book in school is going to tell you that we were slaves. We was put on these ships, and even we was able some way to miraculously be able to go through this middle passage for all these months, where you have 400 or 500 people on there with no bathroom, right? You have women who has a menstrual cycle every month. And then let's talk about the women that may have been pregnant who had children. You know, this is a miracle that we had ancestors to be able to live through all of all of that. You know, at the end of the day, we got to be like superhuman to have lived through all of that.
So now, Reconstruction basically means the reconstruction of history. Okay.
That's real. But you know what's so crazy? As you say Reconstruction, some of our people will assume that slavery is our genesis. And that's why I say more science is so dope. It takes them back before that.
Right.
It peels back the
Yeah.
layers. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
dope.
You know, like that period of Reconstruction, right? In that time, we lost so much. We lost a lot of our land in that small period during Reconstruction, right? Because you had the Abandoned Lands Act, the Abandoned Lands and Refugees Act, where if these slaves was working on your land, the slaves actually because they were federal property, right? So when we talk about Juneteenth, right? Juneteenth was about certain counties and certain states where there were slaves, and the Union Army rolled up and said, "Hey, you don't want to be slaves under them anymore. You can be slaves under the Union Army now. We're gonna pay you wages. You're gonna get 3 hots in the cot," because that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened, with Juneteenth. So now you have all of these slaves, and they are, federal property now, right? These are now. So now you gotta do something with them. So you have to pay, because the Constitution says that you have to give fair consideration to anyone who has private property and you're taking over their property, even if it's eminent domain. And that's really what they use. They use, eminent domain tactics to take a lot of our property away from us, especially in the South. A lot of our property got stolen and taken and then redistributed. So when you see like the Freedmen's Bureau, we had already had banks way before that time. We didn't need a Freedmen's Bureau, but the Freedmen's Bureau was like, look, you either leave it or you can take it. So a lot of us was like, at least I still got this portion of my land, versus I'm just going to go ahead and give it all up.
Right. Nice. That's peace. So, do you have any books that you can reference for the people to check out? In regards to the Reconstruction period and it having a connection to the Moors.
Definitely always go to the Forgotten Cause of the Civil War, right? That's one of the main ones you can always go to. You can always go to
Forgotten call. Forgotten.
the Forgotten Cause of the Civil War, right? You can always check out. I always say always go and check out the Library of Congress. The Library of Congress has a whole database of uh, old newspaper clippings, right? And those paper clippings, those paper clippings are clutch, because in those paper clippings you learn that a lot of the generals that was with the Confederate Army looked like us. They wasn't a bunch of pale skinned Europeans. You know, you learn a lot about what the uh, the presidents and what they look like at that time. They look like us. No, they were swarthy, they were tawny, right? They were dark. They didn't look like what we know uh, the status quo to be today. Again, that's after Reconstruction. Even
Oh
after
man, I'm
Reconstruction,
looking. I don't mean to cut you up.
what
Man. I'm learning so much doing this podcast. Um, certain things that I never really looked
That's a
into.
that's a fact.
Certain things I didn't really look into, like when it said swarthy. When it used to say when I saw that word, I'm like imagining in my mind, not dealing with the actual facts, saying swarthy probably just means like like Indian looking or something like that. But it clearly says here simply dark skinned.
yeah.
That's
Well,
it.
when I go back to the definition that I put up at the very beginning, it
Yeah,
says swarthy.
yeah, yeah,
It says swarthy, Moor, Moorish, Negro,
yeah.
black or more. Like you can't make this up.
Right, right. But the Moors get all the hate though. I don't get it. But uh so now the next question,
Mhm.
this is going smooth. See, Arnell Bay, what happened, man? You supposed to tell us to do this a long time ago, man.
Yeah, brother.
What happened? What happened, Arnell Bay? What happened, man?
He said not to be easy with the questions. Being that sister, you practice law through the aspects of paralegal doing the research. Do,
Mhm.
do any of these claims that these Moors do online as citizens and debate in the court over jurisdiction, does
Mhm.
it actually work? Being that you studying the law, does it?
It does. It does. You have to really understand that it is a science to it.
Really?
And I've been doing this for years now, right? I've been doing this a solid 15 years. And 2 years ago, I got it to the point where clients go into court and they're told, don't step in this courtroom, case dismissed. It's a science to it.
Really?
It's not and it takes time. You're not gonna learn it overnight. You don't have to put liens on people and their property. You don't have to, a lien really goes on to someone that actually owes you something. So, you don't have to, try to rate the county and the city's bonds because you're upset. You know,
The
um,
bonds. I'm
you don't,
sorry when you say bonds, I laugh because I'm
yeah,
about to go to take my birth certificate. So if it works, I'm a so Arnell Bay. I'm bringing my birth certificate out there, man, to the Midwest. We're gonna get this money.
man, and
Stop. Come
but you
on,
can't
man. Here you
even,
go.
you can't get money off of the birth certificate. That's not what it's for.
I know.
At the end of the day, okay, so the birth certificate, right?
It's a farce.
The birth certificate is just it's a certificate, right?
Yeah.
And so you can take the certificate, you can, you know, you can get the certificate authenticated, you can get it apostilled, right, with all of the UCC verbiage on it, right? And you can put it into different avenues for safekeeping. You can be the first lien holder on it. So if someone is trying to utilize it, you know, they can't do it, but you can't get any money off of it. All right.
I'm not wasting my time doing
At
all
the
that.
end of the day, there hasn't been any money since 1933, right? But there's different currencies that is in place for you to be able to utilize. So with those different currencies, we know there's, you know, currencies with, you know, federal debt notes. You can use negotiable instruments, you know, but if it's a private party, say like Amazon, you can't force Amazon to use a negotiable instrument at the end of the day. You can't make T-Mobile and Verizon use a negotiable instrument. But what you can do is you can barter, right? You can say, hey, well, look, you're already using my source data, right? You got access to my pictures, my text messages, my emails, right? It's all coming into your system because they sell, you know, they sell your information, your data. Data is big business. So you can say, well, look, you already got access to my source data. You're already doing this with my source data. My source data is in a trust, right? And so I only want you to do this, that, and the other with my source data. And if you're going to use it, then we can set up a contract. And you'll be surprised. Businesses love contracts.
Oh,
right? And like when you read the fine print, like all of us got Cash App. Well, most of us got Cash App, right? Read the fine print of Cash App. Read the fine print of Cash App. You'd be like, wow, I did not know I can do this with Cash App. Cash App is not the only one. Read the fine print of your bank. You know, when you go and you set up your bank account, read the fine print of your utilities. You will be surprised. As a consumer, you have the right to be able to negotiate terms. It says it right there. I think a lot of times Moors get stuck in not being able to properly negotiate.
Yeah, because you know, it's an art. It's an art to writing.
Yeah.
You have to have the proper language in there, and that language has to be a language that the other contractor, if you will, or the you know, the person on the other side, they have to be able to understand it thoroughly, and it has to go within their frame of laws and speaking, etc. So there's an art to making sure that your letters are sent out right and exact.
That's a fact.
And you know, a lot of us, I would say a majority of us, are not well versed in that. You know, because they don't really teach that in school anyways.
Yeah.
No, because home economics is gone now. You know, we used to learn how to, we used to learn how to do our taxes in home ec.
Yeah.
You know, we don't even know how to do taxes anymore, right? We go to the tax preparer because the tax.
Oh wow! See, you know what? You right about all of that. Damn, I was in the back writing rhymes.
Yeah, we used to balance our checkbooks and all that back then.
Yeah, yo, I should have been
checkbook. You learn how to do your own taxes, right? You learn how to cook.
You know what, Ron?
You learn all these things.
Paul was going through that direction.
Yo, I know we were though, bro.
Yo, there's a lot of like a sister like you. Oh my God, so beneficial to other sisters. To put that information in for them. You teach them these things. Oh man, unstoppable.
Definitely.
Unstoppable. All right.
Thorough. Yo, Arnell Bay. That's what I was doing in school, man. Sorry, y'all. You know,
writing rhymes.
I was writing rhymes. I became a really good student as I got older. When life hit me, like, oh shit, like this is real.
We gotta be honest, because the education system here is boring. It bores you, man.
Yeah.
It does.
It's not tantalizing. It doesn't capture your attention. And they quick to say you ADHD. No, just your education system is not great. You give me a
No, it's
poor
not.
education. It's not interactive. You know, I see now they do all these robotics in school now,
We
but
wasn't
growing
getting
up,
none of that.
we had those big old beige looking computers.
And we had the floppy disk.
Yeah, five
Yeah,
and a half.
The hard disk. We had
Yeah,
floppy disk.
for sure, for
yeah.
sure. Now I want to close with one more question,
Okay.
and then we'll wrap it up. But how are we descendants of Moroccans? From now on, I'm asking every more
How
that
we descendants from
how
Moroccans.
we come, every
Okay.
more that gets on the platform.
All right. So, that's the ancient the modern name is Morocco, right?
Mhm.
But we are the descendants of the ancient Moroccans born in America. When we talk about ancient, we talk about an older time. Again, going back to Mr. Stevens in Georgia, who spoke speaking about the American Mexican War, said that the land actually belongs to the Mauritanian races. We know Mauritania is what? Morocco, right? Even there's several ancient names of Morocco throughout America, right? You got Morocco in Florida, you got Morocco in Indiana, you got here in Illinois, you got Muhammad. You have the different ancient names where still some resemblance there, not much, but you still have it here. I always say go and dig in those places, like literally go to the highest peaks in those places and begin to dig. You're going to find a lot of information. Go to the public libraries of these locations, you're going to find a lot of information. um, Even the Congress even gave Opelika, Florida, recognition of being, one of the ancient Moroccan locations here in America. That's not coincidence. Like you wasn't just coming up over here and setting up shop if that wasn't who we really was and how we was getting down. Like you still can't come in the hood today and just set up shop. And we don't even own pretty much anything in our hood, right? But you still can't come there to this day and do it. So you know what it was when we owned everything.
Mhm. Right. Now, what I want to try to do moving forward is to whenever any Moors or anyone gets on a platform is to bring some receipts, some kind of references, because I like for people to see it live, you know what I mean, like to see it
I
right in
got a
front
lot
of
of
them.
I got a lot of references. I got a
Okay,
lot of references.
okay. um Now, okay, so we clear, on the Moroccan, why we Moroccans, we clear on that, Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah, I clear that. I understood the concept of it as she mentioned, but I also look into the historical aspect that the Moroccan kingdom spread it across. So it's like just saying who. It's like how America, I mean Britain did with the colonies here. They say this is our colony right here, America. So that's how I look at that whole scheme of being Moroccan, part of the Moroccan kingdom
So,
empire. Pardon me.
so when you talk about the British colonies, right?
Yeah,
You can only colonize the area that you own
yeah.
or that you're in treaty with. You have to have some type of agreement to be able to come on somebody's land and set up
Ah, hold
commerce.
on. Uh-oh. Oh, my bad. Y'all hear that? Did they go
No,
off?
nah, that happened yesterday.
Oh, pardon y'all, technical
Mm.
difficulties. Now what were you saying? Where did you leave off?
I
You said the
said that
treaty.
I said that Britain, right, for Prince Charles, Wales, Scotland, England, for him to be able to come over here and set up shop, he had to own parts of the 13 colonies, or he had to be in treaty to be able to set up shop. You can't just come to somebody's home and set up commerce. It's never been that way. So in order to be able to do that, you got to be, and when you even look at it, he was relatives with a lot of the indigenous families over here. So that was his land to be able to set up these colonies. You know, a lot of times we get caught up in the reconstructed history of, you know, Britain did this, but before you had Britain, you still had Spain, right? You had the Dutch. We know New York, right? That was New Amsterdam.
Yeah.
You know, that whole area was New Amsterdam.
She said, "Yo, Arnold Vase, yo, Arnold Vase." Yeah, he's proud of you. Yo, he is so proud of you.
Yo, Arnell Bay, you might as well just be on the show.
Yeah, might as well come up, brother.
Oh, come on, man. Oh, I know what happened. Why he didn't want to be on the show. His hair wasn't done.
Oh yeah. Yeah. His hair wasn't done. Yeah.
Come on, Mo. You know how Marty like, come on, Mo. Come on up, Mo.
That's their website. That's their website there at the bottom. I like it just dawned on me. I said, "Oh wow, yeah, I did put that on the banners here."
Yeah.
So that's their website right there.
Yeah, you can go to, Central Asiatic, get your toilet paper, get your all natural cleaning products.
That is dope.
We're gonna be adding some more product to the line, but our flagship product definitely hands down is a toilet paper. All of my community, they come and get toilet paper from us. They don't gotta go to the store. They come over here and get this toilet paper.
Yeah, that is dope. That's dope. And it's true. The essentials you do need that because
yeah, definitely.
Man.
Yeah. Now so you sell toilet paper, you sell hand sanitizer, right?
Yeah, we got toilet paper, we got hand sanitizer, we got a multi-purpose cleaner, we got a glass cleaner. We're working on some things in different distributors to be able to build out an entire cleaning kit. So we'll be having like broom, dustpan, mop, floor cleaner, you know, things that you need, you know, essential for your home. Right. And we want to make Essential Asiatic a household name.
That's dope.
Yeah, definitely. See what the Moors are doing. Yeah. Now, we're gonna leave off with that. Peace to everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining us today, Crystal K. Glover Ill. Thanks to her husband Arnell Bay for being in attendance as he always is, a solid supporter. Arnell Bay was there from the beginning when we first started this platform. Yes. Really appreciate you.
I ain't gonna get the views he got. His video got thousands.
But you know why his video got thousands of views, right?
Know it.
They want to see GD and BD and see.
And let me tell you, he corrected me about the name. He's like, no, Chief Malik. Imam Malik. Like, my bad, Imam Malik. I was like, you know, got my lingo right for you know, for the shots when I go out there. I can be like, no, Imam.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
yo, we're out of here. I really appreciate everybody to watching, viewing. We're back on tomorrow.
I can't hear you, brother.
Tomorrow, we were supposed to have another interview at 8 o'clock, but it just didn't happen. That's just how this business goes. Sometimes things happen, but we're dropping an interview tomorrow. We probably drop a throwback video during the weekend, and we are back Tuesday. We will see y'all Tuesday for the hip hop show, and we'll notify you guys to let you know whatever else we have popping for the rest of the week. Definitely. See y'all on the next interview.
Have a blessed weekend, people.
Have a blessed weekend. Peace.